strategically so that you can see what I'm pointing at. You can't see me. Okay. All right, my name is Sherry. I work for Maryland Telephone. I was sat down with Dan and Dave, and we decided what best way to program your phone system, which we wanted to create a seamless environment, and I think we did a marginally good job for the engineer, only one in the room at this time. I had just mentioned that the 8,000 series numbers that you used to have been changed to 6,000 series numbers. So yours being 8,053 before, it's now 6053.
Okay.
And we'll talk about the hot desking feature at the end, I think, so everybody can go back, and then I'll just cover that with you. It's not difficult, but again, it's different, so we'll do that. And if you would, take your pencil and change on the back side of that color copy, there's a page instruction. The very last says paging. It's 9-7. Your extensions start with 7, so we had to adjust the feature code for page from 7 to 9-7. So if you would write that on your paper, you would know that when we do press the 0x key, which is the special key, it allows you to access your feature codes, your 300 series numbers, and those single-digit codes as 7, or 97 in this case. You press the circle X key to access your features, and then you dial 97, and then 0, which is your zone. And any phones that are plugged in can hear me now. Okay. So again, it's 97, zone 0, or excuse me, 0x key, or the feature key, special key, 97, and then 0, and it'll page all phones in the building. Okay, that is the only page zone that we have set up today. So that is different on your sheets. I didn't know what the number was. I couldn't remember when we were training last time. All right, so again, we're going to talk about the nature of the phone itself first, and then we'll talk about voicemail later. You have what we refer to as, or that's the standard device of 5320. It has your buttons on the left side of the display. On this particular model, okay, the 3 buttons at the very top on the lineup don't have voltage on them, so they won't light, and I'll explain that in a minute, okay? You're basically have your do not disturb button there. Your outgoing button is your next button in the lineup. Call keys 1 and 2. Your IC or intercom, and we'll talk about these in detail. Your conference button, and then forward all. Those are the fixed keys that have been programmed on your display, which leaves you 4 buttons that are yours to program, user programmable keys, okay? But when you do program extensions or the like on these buttons at the top, they won't light, okay? That's all, there's no voltage there. You have your standard keypad here. Your fixed keys, if you'll look at your instructions there under the picture of the phone, it actually is to the right of the phone, excuse me. Those little icons are actually what these buttons are. It's not going to be difficult for you to get used to them. Your hold button is the red one. Okay. Your transfer button is the one to the right of the red one with the little arrow. The voicemail flash button, the translucent button right here, when you do get a new message in the phone system, this button will flash, excuse me, as well as this horizontal lamp at the top will flash. And for those of you who may ask me later, I can't turn this button off. It aggravates some folks that both of them flash, but get used to it. You can put duct tape.
Electrical tape.
Yeah, electrical tape covered up. You won't look too flashies. Okay, but I cannot turn that on. Your volume button or your scroll button. This has a dual feature. Your volume button up and down, as well as your scroll button that you'll show when we do the do not disturb. You'll use it when you're changing your feature or do not disturb. And then there's your speaker, which is to the right of that. And this is the old-fashioned mute button, which allows you to, when in a call, press it, and then the caller, the person you're talking to, cannot hear you. Okay, you haven't placed them on hold. You can still hear them, but you muted them momentarily. Okay. When the phone is set up, this is its highest elevation. If you choose to lay it flatter, you have 2 options. This is the highest elevation, and then you can lay it down flatter. For the guys in here that have just gotten a manicure, I wouldn't recommend it. There are pressure plates on the left and right of this plastic piece of hard plastic. Once you press them together, you unlatch it, and then put them at the very top holes on the back, smack it back in there, and it'll lay close, whatever, it'll lay down. If you have, some people who have pedestals use that lower set. All right, and if you do get to your phone, Ed's pretty good about this. This is a spring-loaded catch. Out of the box, it's down. So when Ed puts them together, he turns it for you. It's raised up a little bit. It allows you to catch that inlaid hole in the base of your headset, so it won't slide off. Do you have wall phones anywhere, Dan? Okay, that's key for the wall phones because it is walls. Okay. All right. That's the phone. It's no big fancy stuff. There's not going to be headsets anywhere except the ladies up here in the consoles at this point.
Sales team has a few.
Oh, okay. Okay.
They're wired.
Wired to the phone.
Correct.
And they're in
the
place.
Jack, or are we going between the wire?
Depends on, what do you mean?
I see it.
There should be
Okay,
a
that's
jack
right,
in the
there's
back.
a headset jack right in the back, okay? All right, so now we'll just move to making a call. On the back side of that colored piece of paper are the top topics I'm going to discuss. Again, just answering a call, managing a call. Your main numbers are still going to be the same. Your DID numbers did not change. Your phones, if they were 72, whatever your extension is, it's still 72, whatever your extension is. Everyone that has a heartbeat has a mailbox. The guys that are logging into phones is going to be different for you. We'll talk about that in the bullpen area, okay? Answering a call when phone call rings, if your 10-digit DID number is dialed, your call button will flash. This call button here on the phone will flash. You just answer the call by picking up the handset. If you are a speaker person, and it makes sense if you're in an office, you can hit your speaker button and answer the phone, and it'll come right to the speaker, okay?
And if you hit it again, it'll hang it up.
It'll hang it up, okay? Once you do have 3 volumes in this phone system that need to be adjusted. This is your speaker volume. If your phone is ringing, somebody calls you and it is ringing, you would simply go up and down in the ring until you're happy with it. And then, of course, there's a handset volume that you hear in your ear, and you adjust it when you're talking to somebody that has a median volume, okay? This phone system also allows you to change that. So once your ear's comfortable and you have them all comfortable, if you're in call with somebody who has a lower, they're in a tin can, you can turn them up, and you can turn them down. It's a receive filter, gives you that gain. You cannot change. If they can't hear you, you can post that till your finger falls off. It's not going to change. It's not an amplifier. It's not going to change what they can hear. Okay, it's only going to change your receive side. Okay, and when you hang up the call, it'll default back to your settings. Right, you can change it in call. It's pretty standard phone. All right, so that's answering a phone. Now, out of the box, we're going to talk about an internal call. So when I'm dialing Dan, for instance, or I'm dialing Laura, which was last one, or Andy at 7210. If I call somebody internally, one of your instructions is placing, well, let me do emergency call first. 911. You guys are used to dialing 9 and then the number. Yes? Okay. So when you do that, if you dial 911 and double tap that 1 because you forgot, we don't use 9 on this system. You're going to call 911. It's going to happen. Anytime I come to a customer that you're coming out of an environment where you dial 911 and then 10 digits, somewhere down the line, somebody's going to dial 911 and Baltimore County is going to be called. It's an emergency. You reach Baltimore County Emergency. So stay on the phone. Just tell them you got a new phone system. There's no emergency. Hang up. The very next thing you need to do is call Dan and Dave, I believe, because I made Dan and Dave phone administrative phones. So they're going to see emergency dialed alarm on their phone. Where it called from, they'll know the extension. And not to be flip, but if you have fallen and you can't get up, they need to know that information, okay? It may make sense to think about to let someone else up here have that flag for those instances, okay? So until you get used to dialing an outside call and not dialing one, that's going to happen. So just stay on the line, tell them you messed up, new phone system, crazy lady didn't tell you, whatever, and then let these guys know because they have to clear that alarm, okay? So making an outbound call, going there. There's an outgoing button on this phone. It's the second programmed button today. It says outgoing. Under that little button is an 8. That is the number that is getting a trunk and making an outbound call. So you press the outgoing button and dial the number. Okay? So your behavior has to change there. Don't dial 9. dial 8, okay? Or, phone tips sheet will tell you, you can dial 8 by yourself. Whatever, you can either dial the outgoing button or press 8 like it says in your instructions. You can even press the call button as well, one of the call buttons. Okay. Regardless of what behavior you decide to add, assimilate to, you kind of change something. 9 is no longer your option, all right? Again, now we're going to make an internal call. Out of the box, these phone systems are set where internal calls, if I were going to dial Andy at 7210, well, right now it's going to say unplugged because none of the phones, or at least that phone is not. You remember, whose is over there that's on it?
7200.
So if I dial 7200, you see how it rang? And then it went to it's answered. If somebody were in there having a conversation, we could hear it. And they can hear us.
Well, it answers automatically?
Hands-free is on. And out of the box, all phones, hands-free is on. So the next thing is how to turn that off. Okay, the earlier class has that instruction. On the other side of your tip sheet, there is a matrix that shows your commonly used feature codes, which is the right matrix there. Your hands-free on and off is 319. So, this is me phone, I have decided I want hands-free off. When I turn hands-free off by pressing 0x key, 319, it's actually going to say it's on now because I turned it off at the last class. So now I'm going to turn it off by hitting 0x 319. Now my hands-free mode is off. Now when I dial your extension, if I'm at 7200 and I dial this extension, 7220, it will ring and ring and ring and ring until one of two things happens. You answer it, or I get tired of waiting and hang up. Internal calls do not go to voicemail.
Let me ask you a question. If he's on the phone talking to someone and I try to do an internal call, does it let me know? Like,
It'll say busy.
it will say busy. So our phone system
I
now
see
just
busy.
rings and rings.
I
and
see
rings.
to
We
Dan
don't know.
busy.
Okay, good.
It makes a noise. Now
Excellent.
you can still transfer a call to him and send him a call,
Understand.
but it will tell you it's busy, regardless of what you do to it. And I heard earlier that you do not get that in the system.
Nope.
Okay? That's how you make an internal call. So for those of you who make sense to keep your hands free on, so you can just say, yeah, what do you want while you're doing all of this, great. But I'm hearing that your culture is to turn them all off, or maybe not. Some people will want them. 319 will do it. If you want me to turn them all off, I can do that. But I didn't know if it was
Leave
something.
them on, because it will force everybody to go through the special key feature sequence,
Yes.
which is a training opportunity.
There you go. I like it. I'll use that. I'll take that with me. It's mine now. So that's internal calls. That's how they work. Again, they don't go to voicemail. That's the big scotcha there. Okay. Next one is, I lost my spot. All right, we already made, and making an outgoing call, making an internal call, and transferring calls is where we're headed to next. There's two different kinds of transfers. Again, your transfer button is the button to the right, to your right of the hold button, which is the red one. So if I get a call and it's for Dan, I'm talking to Mr. Smith on call button 1. So Mr. Smith wants to speak to Dan. Hang on, let me see if he's available. I'm going to strike my transfer button. When I strike this transfer button, Mr. Smith goes on hold. By virtue of pressing the transfer button, he goes on hold. So no one needs to put Mr. Smith on hold. Okay? You press the transfer button, he goes on hold, you enter Dan's extension, 7220. Now the second light on my phone is this IC button because I'm making an internal call to Dan. You answer. Mr. Smith's on the phone. Would you like to speak with him? Sure. I hang up. I don't think that's much different than what you're used to now.
If they haven't turned off hands-free, will they automatically pick up?
It'll answer. And he'll be typing away, and I'll hear him, whatever he's doing, I'll be eavesdropping on. So, Dan, you got Mr. Smith on the phone. You want to speak with him? Yeah. He say, yeah. I hang up.
What if he doesn't want Mr. Smith?
Next minute. Hold on.
All right.
So that's an announced transfer. Okay? So to keep...
Our culture today is announced transfer.
Right.
I'd like to encourage everyone to the respect of the receiving party
To
to do the announced transfer.
to do the announced transfer.
John, Mark Bolt's on line, would you like to speak with
Bo.